Today on Nerd and Normal, the clouds are just in the sky. What's so good and what's so bad about it?
Welcome to Nerd and Normal with Matthew and Gareth, opening your mind to the world of technology. So let's get started.
Matthew, my dear friend, how's the nerd going?
Nerd's going all right this week. It's been a fun week and the week hasn't quite finished yet either.
And you're over COVID.
I am, and I should have a shave, but hey, you can't be perfect these days.
Well, you're never perfect, so don't worry about it. You just keep being what you are.
Always right.
The nerd. Oh, not what. What? Right of? You mean right as in right hand or left as in left hand? I'm not quite sure what you mean. Anyway, silly question. I have an Apple device, and my main thing is my PC. And people keep on talking about if you lose things, you can download it from the cloud because everything's up in the cloud. Now, I don't know a lot about the cloud or the iCloud, whatever you want to call it, but it's a subscription model of some kind, but sometimes it can feel a bit like a trap. It's not a traditional offline backup service. Pulling your files off can be very difficult and sometimes time-consuming if you succeed. So just in general, to start with, what is the cloud? And don't say it's up in the sky.
Well, right now for me, it's cloudy, so there is. But no, the cloud, when it comes to computers, is nothing more than the internet. It's website services. So anytime you put anything on the internet, that you put an email onto a website, because you're using, say, Gmail or Hotmail for your email service, that is a cloud service. It's on the internet. It's available no matter where you are, anywhere in the world. That's all the cloud is just website services. But because it's unknown what it actually is by a lot of people, and it's used by businesses to make things sound more interesting, they get there and say about the cloud being the be-all and end-all, when all it is just the business has paid for an online storage system, and now you're going to use it.
And you got to pay too, right?
You do, and it's not all the time. For example, if you have an iPhone like you and I both have, you're given 5 gigabytes of space for free. Absolutely for free. It doesn't cost you a single cent. If you have a Gmail email address or a Google account, you're given 15 gigabytes of space for free. Nothing to pay for there either.
So hang on.
Mm-hmm.
So on my computer, I'm Google and what you just said, and on my phone. So that means I get 20 gigabytes free. You can
use 20 gigabytes. You can put different things on both of them, put the same things on both of them.
Yep.
So all it comes down to is how much space you want to have. So you have these services that are giving you the space for free. There's, like I said, there's Google, there's Apple, there's Microsoft, there's Dropbox, there's Box.com. There's a range of different services out there to save you, give you space for free. But then they always say the same thing. Hey, you're using up all your space. Have some more, but you got to pay for it, and that's where the trick always is.
Okay. Now, I suppose most of the space on my phone would be taken up with photos and videos and audio because of my job. And I would assume that whatever I've got on the cloud is going to be larger than the universe of my phone. So if I've got a large library on the iCloud and moving it to some external device is going to be clunky or not possible if my phone's not big enough to take what's on the cloud?
This is the mistake people make originally, is when they first get their Apple iPhone, for example, they allow Apple to have all the settings turned on to put all their photos and documents from their phone onto the iCloud service, filling the iCloud up, which is a free service, because you're only given a small amount of space. The trick is if you turn those features off, you put only 5 gigabytes of space onto iCloud, which means it's easy to get the stuff off. The second you fall for you're running out of space, here, pay us $1.50 and we'll give you more space, you are right. Then it becomes difficult. And it used to be simple. So the biggest thing used to be your photos and your videos being stored on iCloud. You go onto the iCloud.com website, you could go onto the photo section and download photos 1,000 at a time. However, what happened a few years ago is Apple made that difficult, and it ended up where if you try to download more than 300 photos, it would just what they call timeout. It would start downloading but then fail. Now the issue comes down to you want to get your stuff off these cloud services to somewhere you can control, or you want to take it off the cloud service to put it on your own computers or hard drive because it's free for storing things that way. Unfortunately, it is hard getting it all off. There is no simple way. You've got to go onto their websites and download it to the computer and then put it on a hard drive from there.
So is it also true that if I delete something from my iPhone, it automatically deletes from the cloud?
Only if the thing you're deleting from your iPhone says it's on the cloud. It's hard to sort of find, but if you go into your photos in your phone and you open up one of your photos and you go to the information little I for that photo on your phone, it'll say whether it's stored on the iCloud or stored on the phone. If it's stored
But
on...
I thought all the photos on the iPhone were automatically transferred to the cloud.
They can be uploaded to the cloud, but it keeps a copy of it on the phone as well. So, however,
okay.
Sometimes it puts them up on the cloud to try and free up space on your phone. You say, free up space on my phone, and it takes them off your phone completely and just has them on the cloud. Yes.
So is Google Drive the same as the cloud, except a different system?
Yes, it is. It's a Google's cloud system, and this is where Google has actually, again, done the same sort of thing. When you buy an Android phone, you go into the Google Photos app on the Android phone. It says to you, to make sure your photos are safe, back them up. We want to make sure your photos are safe. Back them up to Google. Again, you give them 15 gigabytes as free space, and then once you use all that space, it stops working. It massively affects people's Gmail account because Gmail and the photos on their phone are linked together. That's the same 15 gigabytes of space. So if all your photos go on the Google Cloud, the Google Drive service, it fills up all your space. Your Gmail email address will stop working.
Yeah. Well, I had a year ago, I had to save on Google Drive a 1 hour video, and I tried. In fact, I think you advised me about it, but I tried and it didn't work. And Google, the little message came up that you don't have enough space. If you pay an extra, you'll be able to do it. Well, so I paid the extra, and now it's on my Google Drive. So there seems to be a trap everywhere.
There is actually one thing I noticed myself. So I've been, as you know, testing all the different AIs, and I've tested Google's Gemini for the last 3 months. And by paying for it, though I know all the features it can do, they've given me 1.5 terabytes of storage space for less than it costs if you buy that space with Google Drive. So it's a case of I've got all this space right now that I'm never going to use with Google, but they're trying to make it so that way you get hooked on providing you with this Google Drive space and this service at this lower reduced price. They think, oh, we're going to keep you in our infrastructure. You're not going to get there and go off somewhere else. You're going to stick with us. If you don't use it, in your case for the video, if you use it for the one video, you've dealt with it, you can delete it off the service, you can then turn that subscription off because you don't need that space anymore. And so the thing people don't do is they think, oh, I need this space forever. You don't. You have it for the purposes. When you fix it up, you turn it off.
Even though I took the video and I take the photos and it's all mine on my phone, is it right that I never, ever own the storage?
Oh, you don't own the storage, but you still own the content in the storage space. Unless
Bit of a trap.
The trap comes down to if you were to get there and stop paying for the storage space, Google will delete the content of yours off their service. Because, again, you're not paying for the service anymore. They can delete that content because you're not paying for the space to be there anymore.
But it doesn't delete it from my phone.
No. If it's on the phone, it stays on the phone. Or if it's on the computer, it stays on the computer.
So what would your tips be to a novice, a normal, about iCloud? Use it, don't use it?
When it comes to any of the cloud services, Google's Drive, Microsoft's OneDrive, Apple iCloud, whenever I set up a device, whether it be an Android phone, iPhone, iPad, Windows computer, the whole box and dice, I always turn off the automatic uploading of things to their cloud services. If someone wants to use the cloud services, fine, I'll turn it back on again because they've already got their stuff on there. But if you haven't got anything on there, I turn it off. That way you're not falling into the trap of using the service and then getting stuck paying for it because the space you get given is so minuscule compared to what you're going to use. So if you're not already using it and you're getting a brand new device, go into the settings, whether it be the Windows computer, the Android phone, or the Apple phone, turn off the ability for the thing to send things to the online services as a backup because you don't need it. You can use your computer, you can use your hard drives, your USB hard drives, USB sticks, the whole box and dice to keep your stuff safe.
I've been led to believe that some major companies are exiting from cloud. Am I right? And if I'm right, why are they?
There's none going to exit from cloud per se. What they're doing is you have companies like Amazon, which has one of the largest infrastructures when it comes to online services. They're selling their services to other companies. So instead of, say, Dropbox themselves owning the infrastructure that they've built over the years, the computers, the websites, the internet connections, they can instead move all the data from their service to Amazon's service and then pay Amazon the ongoing fee. That way they have less to pay at the end of the day. There's actually more and more cloud services starting up, and this is why scammers know it's a problem. Scammers will get there and send emails saying, hey, your cloud service is out of space, or your credit card's running out for your cloud service.
Yep. Click
Click on the link and give us your credit card details. People don't understand. You don't need to use cloud for one. You might not be using a cloud service for two, but three, if you are doing it, you don't want to deal with it through an email out of the blue saying it's going to run out. It's not the way to do it.
So is it your advice that you should use some external backup system, the cloud, Gmail, Gemini, whatever? Is that your advice, or is your advice don't use any of them? Just use a hard drive and download everything onto your hard drive?
For an individual, just for their own benefit, I do not recommend use of cloud services, full stop, at all. Nothing should go on the internet. However, if it's things like your contacts on your phone, that can go on to Google's cloud service or Apple's cloud service. It takes up no space at all, and it means if you get a new phone, your contacts go across to the new phone.
Okay.
So that's a cloud service again, but it takes up no space at all. It costs you nothing for that as well. If you're trying to share files with somebody else, yes, a cloud service comes in handy for that, because you can upload massive files to the internet, to a cloud service, send the person a link to the website that you've got this file you've created. They can then download it from there. So for that purpose, yes, because you can't send large emails in, you can't send large attachments in an email, and it's not always viable to send a USB stick to somebody in the mail either. So for that purposes, yes, it comes in handy.
Do you have one preferred system? For Apple, do you have one preferred system for Apple, and do you have one preferred system for non-Apple?
I have one preferred system, full stop, which is the Google Drive system.
Really?
It's 15 gigabytes of space for free, and it doesn't have to be a Google account you already have. There is no limit to the number of Google accounts you can create. So you can create a Google account with your name, with your first name first, your second name second, and your third name third, or whatever. You can then rearrange the order of your names and make a brand new Google account. Another 15 gigabytes of space given to you for free. You're never going to send someone a file that's 15 gigabytes in size. It's not going to happen. And so there's no reason at all to, one, pay for a cloud service, or two, be stuck on one certain provider linked to your device. Google Cloud Service, the Google Drive, works on Windows, works on Apple, works on Linux, works on Android, works on everything without a single problem at all.
Google's taking over the world.
They are, unfortunately. And like as is the case back when they started up, their business motto was don't be evil. I don't know what it is now, but it's not that anymore.
Yeah. I got a new way of spending evil. Cheat. Moving right along. With sending emails with large attachments, I, as you know, use Outlook Express on my PC, and every now and again I have a file that's too big and it says mail drop. What is that? Is that another cloud system?
That's a cloud system provided to you by Microsoft through the Outlook program that puts it onto OneDrive. Yes, it's another cloud service.
So I would therefore I've got Drive on my PC, I've got cloud on my phone, and on Outlook Express. So in other words, I've got three.
You've got more than that. The problem is getting access to those sort of things on a regular basis. It's been organised in the way it has by Microsoft to try and make life simple to allow you to upload files to their OneDrive service and then send the link without the requirement of actually having an account. But the problem is that link only lasts for maybe 30 days and then the link's gone. Yep. Whereas actually using a service like Google Drive, that file is there until you decide to delete it.
Okay. With attachments and files up in the cloud using whatever system, I've got various ways of saving files. And how can I give an example? All right, I used Claude to create a certificate for somebody. And at the end of it, oh, by the way, it timed me out and said, because you got a free one, you can't proceed until it's 12:50 in the afternoon. But be that as it may.
Hang on, I've got I pay for Claude and I still get the same problem. It's for everybody, paid or free.
Okay, so it's created it for me and then download, and I've got a series of choices to download. Now, can you just, a question without notice, can you just take me through the different ways of saving files and their advantages or disadvantages? Things like Adobe, HTML, PDF, JPEG, Word, and Apple's got its own whole new set of ways of saving things which don't work when they try and send one of those to your PC. Help.
It's a case of every format has a different purpose. So we'll start with the one that's most used for sending files to other people, which is the Adobe PDF. So PDF is portable document format. That means it can go between every single computer and has done for decades now. It was created by, I think Adobe didn't create it, but they bought it. It was created to allow somebody to make a file on an Apple computer and give it to somebody on a Windows computer and it would work. That's what PDF does. It works on all devices. The only requirement is have a program on your computer that can work with it, which is Adobe Reader, or these days Chrome, Edge, on the Mac side, Preview.
And Adobe you've got to pay for, yes?
No, this is completely for free. To the point where you can now actually make your own PDF documents for free inside of Word if you need to. The benefit of PDF is one thing, that it works on all different computer systems, including phones and tablets, but it also can't be easily modified. So whenever you get an invoice from somebody or certificate you might have created for somebody, it's usually in a PDF form. That way the person getting it can't easily modify it. The other thing worse, you send someone an invoice, they get there and scribble out the number and put a different price in there and then say, oh, actually, it was supposed to be this price. So that's why PDFs exist. They have things like Word documents, which are made by Microsoft Word and other word processing programs like that. Those work consistently these days over all systems as well, because Microsoft has such a hold on the market that everyone believes and has to use the word process, the word process of getting files to work.
Yep.
On the Apple side of things, they have their own program called Pages. And Pages likes to make their own Pages file.
Well, a friend sent me a file from their Apple to my PC, and I couldn't open it.
Yeah, because what happens is if someone sends you just a basic either Pages, Numbers, or Keynote file from an Apple computer, they're formatted to work on the Apple devices. They're not formatted to work on every device. What the person can do, though, is they can go up to File in Pages, Numbers, or Keynote. They can go to Export, and from Export you can then export it as a Word document if it's Pages, Excel spreadsheet if it's Numbers, or a PowerPoint presentation if it's Keynote. It's all built in. But the problem is no one realizes you can do that. That way you can make your stuff on the Apple computer and you can send it to someone on Windows computer and it works perfectly fine. Then you have things like HTML, which is the language of the internet, which most people these days, I'll actually explain this quickly. Years ago when you went to a website, you'd go to File and you go Save, and you'd save the whole website to your computer so you could look at that page again in the future.
Yep.
These days it doesn't work. Because these days, websites you're looking at, whether it be Facebook, Sydney Morning Herald, The Age, whatever, those websites are being created as soon as you're looking at it. It's not a pre-made page. So if you try and save that, you get a garbled piece of garbage you can't actually get there and look at properly and read.
Been there, done that.
Yep, because those files it's saving are HTML, but the website is working on PHP, a whole nother file format and a whole nother way of doing things, which those do not correspond to each other. So usually when you're getting a website you're going to try and save, also the same thing. Rather than going to File and go to Save, go to File, go to Print, and then you print your website off as a PDF document. It's on every computer these days. And that way you can actually have the website the way it looks on your computer where you can actually look at it again in the future.
Okay. This certificate that I created, and I tried to create a second one for someone else yesterday, and it caused me all sorts of problems. But I saved it, and when I opened it on my desktop, I could actually see it. And it then enabled me to copy and paste it into a thing where I could change the borders, etc., etc. But the one I did yesterday, it saved as a PDF, and I couldn't take a picture of it and then put it onto this. So what was I doing wrong, or what didn't I do right?
So it says like the first one you got it saved by Claude as a JPEG or a picture. The second one saved as a PDF. So the JPEG or picture version, yes, you can modify that to the cows come home, but once it's a PDF, you then can't modify it. And the benefit of Claude is...
Do I have a choice? Do I have a choice with Claude to save it as a JPEG?
You can get there and ask Claude to save it as a Word document, a PDF, a JPEG.
Okay.
It's one of the benefits. It's the same with Gemini. They can all do the same thing. You can ask it to make this file for you, give it all the requirements, and you can tell it you want to save it as a certain file format. It will then save that file format and give it to you.
Well, still going to use the cloud because I've got an Apple thing, so I'm not going to do that for Drive. But because I have a Gmail account as well, because of work, it's got to come through Gmail, then I've got access to the Drive. And it was the Drive one that I tried to save the video on, and it was too big, and then I had to pay money. So I'll suck it and live with it.
It's one of those things that, unfortunately, if you're trying to send things to people, you've got to either use a USB stick or use the cloud to then pay for the cloud storage. But once you're finished with the files to be sent, take them off the website, take the subscription away from it, save the money once again.
Gee, another post-COVID nerd has been able to solve a whole series of problems again. Now listen, down below, please comment, like, share, or ask a question, or tell us what you'd like us to talk about. The nerd will answer any question to do with nerdisms. Don't ask him questions outside that domain because he doesn't have the software to be able to compute it. But please, like, share, comment. We'd love to hear from you.
And you can always email us to nerdandnormalpodcast@gmail.com. Gmail once again. But also don't forget, if you can't get us on YouTube because you don't want to watch us, don't want to see those beautiful two faces, we're on... We're on the Apple Podcasts. We're on Amazon Podcasts. We're on Spotify, iHeartRadio. All your favourite podcast programs, we're on all of them.
I'll talk to you next week, nerd.
See you next week, Normal.